Dog Man, and I'm going live because I'm making this video for Dano's Seasoning. I got a list of notes for that video he made making that gumbo in Kentucky, and I'm pretty sure somebody commented, possibly made videos about his gumbo and how he fucked it up for Mardi Gras. I just caught the video, so I'm making my video and my retort for the way he fucked up this gumbo. All right. So in the beginning of his video, he put butter and avocado oil in the gumbo. There are no avocados down south. And butter is a dairy product in your gumbo that will spoil it. Those are two things you don't put in the gumbo. Your roux is going to burn in that pot and burn your pot. And it wasn't dark enough. Your roux was not dark enough. What you made was an étouffée or a soup. You didn't make gumbo, man. You put your green onions in too early. It doesn't take long for green onions to cook. You put your green onions in at the last minute, man. You put your Holy Trinity in first, right after the roux, with your garlic. And actually, you put your garlic in right after you darken the roux, because it brings out the intense flavor. You put jar garlic, like pickled garlic in it. That's an insult. There is no lobster down south in the bayou, man. That's a disgrace. You put lobster in fucking gumbo. You fucked that up big time. You didn't even put Gulf shrimp in the gumbo. You put white shrimp. I think you meant to do this on purpose just to piss off a lot of Southerners. You see, I was raised in New Orleans and I grew up cooking in New Orleans. And what you did was a straight pathetic disgrace, man. Then you put this chicken broth that you bought from the store. If you actually made real gumbo, you would have boiled a whole chicken or two whole chickens, 3 for that pot that you had. And you would have used the broth from those chickens instead of that bullshit broth that you bought in a box. And for those of us who know, sometimes those boxes sit on the shelves for a long time. And that broth does go bad. So God knows what you fed those people. Then, you used 2 bottles of Dano seasoning? You didn't even have to use that much. If you would have used gumbo filet, a little salt, pepper, and garlic powder, white powder, and black pepper. Just 2 teaspoons of each. You didn't use two whole bottles of your seasoning? Use 2 whole bottles of your seasoning. Your seasoning ain't shit then if you gotta use 2 whole bottles. That's pathetic, man. You want people to spend that much money on your seasoning just to use 2 whole bottles for a big pot of gumbo when that wasn't necessary. Come on, man. Then, the andouille sausage that you use, you put it straight into the pot without browning it. You were supposed to fry that and then put it into the pot. You put that into the pot raw. You could have fucked up that gumbo, spoiled that gumbo in so many different ways. And I guarantee you couldn't leave that gumbo out overnight on the stove. It would have spoiled. Because the way you did it. And corn? You put corn, and you put everything that wasn't supposed to go in gumbo, you put it in gumbo. Then you put that frozen okra in the gumbo. You couldn't even give the gumbo respect enough to give the gumbo gumbo. Because that's what okra means in African. Gumbo. Okra actually means gumbo. You couldn't even give the gumbo enough respect to put fresh okra in it. I don't know what else to say, man. The way you made this gumbo was straight disrespect to every person in the South. It was sad. It was pathetic. And the people up there in Kentucky, what the fuck do they know about seasoning and spices? Nothing. Oh, it's delicious. It tastes like oatmeal, probably. You could have had those flavors in that gumbo popping 100%. You could have had... You see, when you come to New Orleans and you taste these gumbos at these restaurants, half of these people in these restaurants down in New Orleans don't know how to make right gumbo. correct gumbo. You have to go into someone's house, a grandmother, an old aunt, somebody who knows, who's been making traditional gumbo for years and years, using all fresh ingredients. You could have had that gumbo popping so much, and you could have had the taste so flavorful, but you fucked it up. For all those people who tasted that gumbo for the first time, they will never ever, possibly never ever go back and try gumbo. Because you want to know why? Because the gumbo that you made was mediocre. That gumbo that you made was mediocre, my friend. And instead of you getting people hooked onto real traditional gumbo, you fucked it up and you put your Dano seasoning in it. Instead of actually just putting real gumbo filet, salt, pepper, white pepper, garlic powder, a couple of bay leaves. You use 2 whole bottles of Dano seasoning for your shit, man. So all those people that initially tried your Dano's gumbo, want to know what they thought? They thought that was soup. They thought, just because anybody can make a roux, but not everybody can make gumbo, man. And what you did, you made a light color roux. No darker than this. When you finish adding that chicken broth and that water to it, this is what you... Let me tell you another thing. When you make your gumbo, your broth, your chicken broth, should be all the liquid you add to it. You adding that extra amount of water could have spoiled that gumbo too. I guarantee you, you couldn't leave that gumbo out for 1 day and it'll spoil. People who make traditional gumbo could leave their gumbo out on the shelf for days and it still be good. Because everything is fresh and pure and it's the way it's supposed to be made. See, back in slavery days, they made gumbo the right way. And they could leave it out on the shelf all day, all night long. As long as they kept it covered. Why? Because slaves didn't have refrigerators, my friend. And they needed to eat every day. And that's what they did. They ate every day. But that gumbo that you made, that wasn't gumbo, man. That was soup made with dairy products. That was sad. What's up? Serapia Silver, what's up, my dude? I'm making this video, bro, because this dude pissed me off. I'm from the South, man. You guys know I was raised in New Orleans, and I worked for many restaurants down here in New Orleans. And this Dano's dude made gumbo. Scent of the day. Oh, let me show you, baby. Hold on. I just got, hold on, let me show you. I was running low, a couple of these. I went and bought some cheap scents real quick. Bam, you know, of course I had to get this one. Dunhill Desire Red Extreme. I had to get this one back. And a little cheapie. I'm going to go ahead and maybe start up my collection again. See what I can do. I might get back into the game. I don't know yet. And I'll make some reviews on these possibly later. If you guys want me to. Yeah, man, I'm thinking about it. I got to get my bike. And but it's a couple of things I want. I got to get my bike. So I'm working on my bike. And my possibly 1,000cc. A crotch rocket, maybe a Hayabusa or something. I should be getting that next year sometime, before the summer. And then yeah, I'll start reviewing. I'm start reviewing these again. These, let me give you just a little, since I'm on live and you're asking. But yeah, but this video is for Danos, and I guess the beginning of this video would be for Danos. But yeah, he fucked up the gumbo, man. He put CDM is fire, bro. It really is. Club Then You Eat Intense for Man's fire as hell. You know, it's the clone of Creed. I got Acqua di Gio coming. Profumo again, because I know that scent was fire. That motherfucking Acqua di Gio Profumo. You can't beat it. I got it coming from Japan because I couldn't get it anywhere in the United States that was a decent price. Everywhere I looked, it was like $200 for 3.4 or 4.4 ounce, 4.5. Let me see. Yeah, this is still the same. These people do an awesome job. Our mom does an awesome job with this fragrance. Um, Possibly Sunday or Monday, I might be able to get our Moth Siage and our Moth Milestone. I actually want those two again. I gotta have those two. Those are a couple of my favorites that I actually that I want. I want to get Invictus again. I don't care about I actually would like to get the Intense, Invictus Intense and Invictus. What else? Yeah, this is still the same. Club Denuit. This is the EDT. This right here is the EDT. It's still the same. Intense. Still the same. Loving it. I got this one here is still. This isn't the original. You know how the green juice on this on Giorgio Beverly Hills, but it still lasts a long time, and it's weaker. But here's the juice color. You can tell it's not as green. It actually looks kind of. No, it's not as green as it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think I might do that, man. Go ahead, go cheap with it, because I really do like Armand. Um, and these fragrances I got actually can compete with niche fragrances and shit, as far as longevity and projection and shit. And I actually, another one that I really liked was that Dunhill Desire Extreme Red. Some people say this is chocolatey, but it just smells fucking good. This to me is about a one-on-one. It can go one-on-one with Dolce & Gabbana the One EDP. So I'm getting that probably sometime soon. I don't know. I'll be collecting slowly again. And see what happens with that. I'm in love with my fragrances again, man. To be honest with you. Even after COVID, after I couldn't smell, taste, and all that shit. Oud Cafe. I got an empty bottle of Oud Cafe. I still got this here I'm working on. Almost empty. Bentley. Intense. Look at that. This is my second bottle. Well, actually, this is like my fifth or sixth bottle of this shit. The first couple ones that I had, I gave it away. Or I sold it, not gave it away. And then I bought two more because I really like the scent. Yeah, it is niche quality. A lot of girls don't like this though. They say it stinks. At one point it did stink to me. Now I'm back to smelling it like it's normally supposed to be, like a brand new car leather type of deal. I love it. It did stink to me at one point, so I do see how people's senses can change. This is why fragrances and people's opinions on fragrances is subjective. It changes. There's no standard behind it. No real standard. One day you can like it, and the next day you can hate it. So that's why it's subjective. So many people say fragrances are objective. No, it's not. Shut the fuck up. Absolute. Is that that's the black one, isn't it? The woody one. That's a pretty good one for a wood scent. I think the Absolute is the black one. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't been keeping up. I do believe it's the black one. I was over here playing Call of Duty, and I caught that damn video. Yeah. It smells like pencil shavings to me, bro. But a lot of people like it. I liked it for what it was, but I wouldn't wear it all the time. I wore it every now and then, but I didn't wear it all the time. Let me get out this. Go to YouTube. Black Ops 6 is coming out on the 25th. Couple more days, man. Couple more days for Black Ops 6. Let me turn this fucking AC on. It's fucking hot up in here. He fucked up some gumbo, bro. You know I'm from Louisiana. I'm from the South, and man, this dude fucked up some gumbo. Okay, so first of all, in his gumbo, he put butter and avocado oil in it. I wrote it all down because he made a little short, kind of like a 3 minute video or so, of how he made the gumbo. And now gumbo is a down south thing, a Louisiana thing. It's a melting pot thing. Different cultures and people, Africans, French, Cajun, Creole, Italians, they all put their little twist to it. But when they did it, everything was fresh. And it's a mixing pot of different flavors and shit. And Danos fucked it up. He put butter and avocado oil. First of all, number one, there is no fucking avocado down south. There are no avocados down south. You can't grow them. And if you do, it's in a, you know, in a managed area like a greenhouse or some shit. Butter is a dairy product. You never put dairy products with something that's going to have seafood in it that's going to last a long time. Because it'll spoil it. He put butter in it. And green onions. You never put green onions at the very beginning of your cook. Because it'll boil down and the flavor won't even be there after. So you put that down either closer to the end or at the end of your cook. Then you put lobster. There are no fucking lobsters in the bayou, man. How you put lobster in gumbo? And when he made his roux wasn't dark enough. His roux was light color. So by the time he was finished cooking, this is what his roux looked like. He didn't make a gumbo. He made an étouffée, which is a light colored gravy. Is what he made. He didn't make a gumbo. And anytime you do that and you don't cook that flour down, that's a dairy product. You will spoil your gumbo. You have to cook that down to it's almost like charred, but has like a nutty flavor. And so what he did, he didn't do it all the way, and he was burning his pot because he put it in a big ass boiling pot, not a gumbo pot. So he basically burned his pot trying to make this gumbo because he didn't have it in a correct pot. You know those big black cast iron pots? That's what you're supposed to make your gumbo in. Not one of those boiling shrimp pots. Because the fire beneath it is so hot and so intense, you'll burn your pot as you're trying to make your gumbo. And then his garlic was garlic in a jar. Not fresh garlic. That right there, if you use fresh garlic, the flavor intensifies tenfold. But you didn't put fresh garlic. He put that jarred garlic, like pickled garlic. It's not pickled, but it's like oiled pickled garlic into the gumbo. That gives really no flavor at the end of the cook. None. You don't taste that at the end of the cook. But if you put fresh garlic, you'll taste that all the way through your gumbo. Then the chicken broth that he did. Now, if he did real gumbo, he would have boiled off some whole chickens. Throw some celery in there, some onion, a little spices, and, you know, maybe a carrot. Not really a carrot, but celery, onions, green onions. Shit, like a couple of lemons in there if you were doing like a seafood gumbo. But nah, he didn't use fresh chicken broth. He bought that shit from the store, like a Knox type of chicken broth in a carton. And I made gumbo on this channel a long time ago. The shit he wasn't supposed to do, man. He used 2 bottles of Dano's seasoning to make that gumbo. I'm like, you didn't even have to use that much. You use a little bit of gumbo filet, a couple tablespoons of salt, a couple tablespoons of pepper and white pepper, and some garlic, a couple tablespoons of garlic powder. That's less than a half a jar of Dano's seasoning. He used 2 jars of Dano's seasonings. I'm like, who the fuck is gonna pay for all that? And lobster is expensive. Then he didn't use Gulf shrimp. He used some white shrimp. Like, bro, you just fucked up this whole fucking recipe. And then his andouille sausage, he didn't cook it off and brown it before he put it in the gumbo. He just put it in the gumbo raw. That's another way to spoil your gumbo. He put corn in that motherfucker and frozen okra. He didn't even have enough respect to put fresh okra in that bitch. So, and I was just tripping. I'm pretty sure people got on his ass for it. And maybe next time he might make some good gumbo. Cause I know what he made, and he made that shit in Kentucky. Some people from Kentucky or something. He might have been in Kentucky. I don't know. He made it for some people in Kentucky, and he fucked it up. And I know he was probably getting a lot of criticism for it. Now here's the thing: those people in Kentucky, what they ate was soup. They didn't eat gumbo. They didn't eat real gumbo. Look, if you eat real gumbo, you get hooked on it. Straight up. Because the flavors is a big as, if you do gumbo right, the flavor is an explosion of flavor in your mouth. And like, when you're done eating gumbo, a couple hours later, if it's your first time eating gumbo, a couple hours later, you're going to want to go back and eat gumbo again. Because the flavors are still going to be kicking in your mouth. That's how good real gumbo is. Now, a lot of people like to come to Louisiana for gumbo. And yeah, a lot of these restaurants have gumbo. But a lot of these restaurants don't have the time to correctly make gumbo. It takes a couple hours to make real good gumbo. It takes time to sit there and do a roux right. You got to darken that roux to the point where it's fucking dark. And I'm talking about, let me show you how dark it's got to be. Alright, see this matchstick box? That's how dark that roux has to be. That's exactly right. But he made the roux after you put the chicken broth and after you put your chicken broth and your liquids in your gumbo. That's how dark your gumbo should be. Dark like this. And it should be tasting real good. Not light like this. If you make something light like this, what you make? You didn't make a gumbo, you made a soup. Or an etouffee. That's how you make etouffee. You make it light like this, and then you add a little bit of tomato to it to turn it red. Most of the time. He didn't make it dark like that strip. Your gumbo should be this dark when you're done with it. And real andouille sausage, you're supposed to cook that and brown that a little bit. Why? Because andouille sausage has to be cooked down more. You have to fry out all that fat in the andouille sausage. If you don't fry out all that fat, what you're doing is just basically throwing it in liquid, and it's toughening up. So by the time you get to the andouille sausage, you start chewing on it in your gumbo. It's so fucking rubbery, they don't really taste that good. But if you fry it down first, and you break down the chemical composition of your fucking andouille sausage, by the time you put it in the water, it relaxes. And it's something enjoyable you can eat. Instead of chewing on it. No. That's what I know. You don't know how to make gumbo. And you should have had chicken. And the way you do chicken with the gumbo is you actually boil whole chickens. And then you take them and you rip them with your hands. You put on some gloves, or if you're for your family and just for you, to rip it with your hands. You chill the chicken on some ice. Then you take it and you rip it in pieces like this. So then when you put it in your mouth, you don't have to chew it like it's tough chicken. Some people like to cut their chicken in cubes and then put it in the gumbo. What you're supposed to do is cut your chicken or peel it, then put it in a frying pan and brown it and cook it down. So by the time you put it in a pot and it's done cooking in a pot, your chicken is relaxed. And then you can actually eat the gumbo and chew it and enjoy it instead of chewing on some hard fucking chicken. The people don't know how to cook this shit, man. And he made, here's what he did. He made the gumbo, he put the liquid in the chicken broth, and he added more water. That's number one mistake. Never add water, because sometimes the water that you add is coming straight from the sink or the faucet, and it will spoil your gumbo. Number one. Number two, don't put any dairy in your gumbo except for the flour. And if you don't do the flour right, and you don't darken it, it could ruin your gumbo. It could spoil your gumbo. That's why a lot of people who make gumbo don't understand how hours after their gumbo spoils like that. Look, back in the day when people were slaves in Louisiana, when they made the gumbo, they could leave the gumbo out on the shelf all day long until the next day. And they could eat it the next day. These were slaves that had to eat, okay? And they had to cook their shit down to the point where they could eat it the next day. Why? Because they didn't have fucking refrigerators back then. But they could leave their shit out all day long and eat it the next day. Today, people try to make gumbo and their shit spoiling within hours. Why? Because they put all the wrong shit in there and don't know how to cook it. Here's another thing what he did. He made the liquid, he put the chicken broth, then he put the water, he filled the pot up, then he put raw chicken in that motherfucker. Then he put raw, basically pre-cooked raw sausage in that motherfucker. Boy, you lucky your gumbo didn't spoil while you were cooking it. That's why I know he don't know how to make gumbo. Sad, bruh. People fuck up tradition left and right, and you don't keep to it, you don't stick to it, and then all of a sudden, you lose it. You lose what people have been doing for hundreds and hundreds of years, and you don't respect the recipe, and then you wonder why you can't eat gumbo no more. Or you wonder why gumbo tastes like shit. Because they don't know how to fucking cook it. That's why I had to make the video, man. So all those people that he fed, they were saying, oh, it tastes good. Yeah, it may taste good, but it ain't gumbo. And you ain't gonna taste nothing like gumbo. What you ate was fucking soup. He put corn in there. What you made was soup, bruh. That's what you made. People who make real gumbo, these people from down south, the old grandmas and these old aunties and these old folks who make that shit, their gumbos could sit on the shelf days at a time without spoiling. And they can make seafood gumbo, and it can sit on the shelf days at a time without spoiling. Nowadays, you can't find a motherfucker to make me a gumbo and it'll spoil within a couple hours. Start bubbling from the bottom or from inside the pot. Because they have some kind of bacteria that you forgot to kill, or that you put it in there without even thinking about it. 2 bottles of Dano seasoning? Who the fuck has money, that much money, when everything for the gumbo is expensive? The shrimp, the andouille sausage, all the ingredients that you need, the pot. Nobody gonna buy no 2 bottles of Dano seasoning every time you want to make gumbo. How much is Dano seasoning running about? $5 a piece? $6, $7 a piece? He putting 2 bottles of that shit in there. When all you gotta do is put a little gumbo filet, a teaspoon. For that pot, he could have used 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of, or tablespoons, my bad. A gumbo filet, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. Bam, you would have been done. Sad. Sad, sad, sad. Pathetic. And I know people from Louisiana and from down south, and anybody who made any real gumbo was probably just shaking their head like this. That's a damn shame. He put lobster in the gumbo. There is no lobster in the bayou, bruh. Yeah. Yeah, you could the wrong chemical and your shit ain't coming out right. This is exactly 10%, 15%, 20% oils. And you wanna know what especially with the perfumery shit, the oils has a little bit to do with it, yes, but it doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. Because right now I'd rather wear EDTs than EDPs. And there's only a few fragrances that I would want the EDPs with. And that's Dolce & Gabbana, the one with the EDP. And basically that's it. Everything else I would wear EDT. Or the parfum, I don't really see why it would be important to put 30% or 20% oil in anything unless the scent of it wasn't coming out enough. Pretty much, man. Pretty much. The EDT, a lot of the EDTs these days are fucking lasting 8 hours or longer. They're beast mode fragrances right here. This one here. Beast mode, it's gonna last 8 hours or longer. This one too. I know this one lasts 8 hours or longer because it's been proven. especially when you hit it on a sweater, because the sweater soaks it up. A shirt, your body heat might kill it because the shirt's so close to your skin, but a sweater, you put it on a sweater or a coat, it's gonna last. Yeah, I believe that, man. I believe that's just like like what is that, the fad, the diet fads that they had, glucose. I don't want no glucose, or what's the other shit they had, keto. Let's go on the keto diet. Let's blah 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 blah. Let's eat whole wheat bread. Come to find out, whole wheat bread is bad for you. You should have been sticking with white bread in the first place, or white rice. They used to say white rice is bad for you. Come to find out, white rice is good for you. People so fucking stupid. They just, they just want to go with the trend. This is what the trend is today. But forget that the standard is what's good for them. Man, you want to know what? Zerzov is too much for me, bro. And I'll talk about money. I'm talking about scent wise, because I had what, 3-4 bottles of Zerzov. Yeah, I don't know, man. Zerzov is it's a lot. $400 for a bottle. And I don't remember what I had. You guys probably remember what I had. It was just too much for my nose to handle, bro. I think it was just too complex for my nose. Too much for me. I like simplicity now with my fragrances. That's something simple. I smell it, I like it, I'm good. Whether it's cheap or expensive, Zerzov was a little too much for me, bro. And some of the Parfums de Marly was a little too much for me. Like Leighton, I'm not gonna lie, I like Leighton, but it was a little too much for me. Carlisle was perfect. I love Carlisle. What's the one in the silver bottle? You remember what's that one? Parfums de Marly. Fuck, I can't remember that one. Pegasus. It was a little too much for me. That almond scent, too much. Couldn't. Honestly, I liked it, but I didn't like it. Type of shit. Yeah, but with me, bro, I just been relaxing, getting shit done, working, trying to meet goals. Greenlee. Oh, I didn't try that yet. No, the one in the silver bottle was Pegasus. Cologne. No, I didn't try that either. That's that red one. Yeah, those Parfums de Marly, they're a little bit too complicated for me, bro. I don't know. I couldn't get down with it. I want to go back to basic. I'm gonna start a basic again. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pretend like I never. Well, I can't pretend, but I'm gonna start with all the cheap fragrances first, like I did, and then I'm gonna work my way up again. Versace Dylan Blue, that's kind of complicated. That's kind of rich, bruh. That Versace Dylan Blue that's complicated for me, bro. I'm gonna be real. I didn't really like that one. I liked it, but it's not like a ooh ah light, It was okay. After a while, I found out that my initials were okay, though they were very. I did like Oud for Greatness, but they were just okay. I wouldn't wear it all the time. Shit that I wear all the time, the most, bro, is this motherfucker right here. This motherfucker is what I wear the most of all the fucking time. I wear the shit out there. I wore about 8 bottles of that motherfucker. Because it's so cheap, $33. And it smells fucking awesome, and you get compliments left and right with it. Left and right. No matter where you go, that Club Denny Wheaton Timber Man, you will get a fucking compliment no matter, at least once a day if you're going out. Somebody gonna say something. And look at me, I'm not a good looking dude anymore, bro. I'm an old ass man now. I'm 50. I'm just a regular ass dude, and I get compliments off of that fucking Club Denny Wheaton Timber Man. The Halloween Man X and the Versace Hawass. That's a fucking combination y'all need to get. Halloween Man X and Rasasia Wash, and you layer that motherfucker, and you will get compliments out the ass with that shit for some reason. Yes, sir. What was it? The chocolate and that freshness from that Rasasia Wash. Oh my god. Yes. Yes. Somebody needs to mix that and call that something and make it a niche, cause that was some fire ass fucking fragrance. The way it was layered. Rasasia Wash and fucking Halloween Man X. I told somebody about that before, and they actually did it, and they said he got compliments for it, and he loved it. No, actually, I think one or two people actually did what I said with the Halloween Man X and Rasasia Wash, and they actually did that shit, and they was surprised. They got some good comments. I wore when I worked at Walmart. Every time I wore that shit, boy, people were on my ass. They really liked it. What was it? I just wore out my last bottle of Boss, the scent, Private Accord. Finished that bottle off. So I'm gonna get a couple more bottles. I got Aqua di Gio Profumo on the way. It's the 4.5, I believe. I paid $60 from Japan. Hopefully that's a good fragrance. Hopefully it is the right fragrance. And we'll see what happens from there. Anyways, I'm gonna end this live stream. I think this is good enough for save the live stream. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I always try to. Let me see. Anyways, peace out. Hey, thanks for coming to visit, homie. I might start making more videos. Let me share it. All right, man. Peace out.